Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be building the KBD67 Lite R2. I initially slept on this keyboard until I started to see all of the videos on the R1, and once the R2 came into extras, I immediately picked one up, which KBD fans thoroughly enjoyed. Inside the black box is a black carrying case, and inside the carrying case are KBD fans screw and stabilizers, a Ziploc bag containing screws, a screwdriver, and the rubber feet, a very short cord cable, the ABS case which I got in black, the case foam, the polycarbonate plate, the mute silicone that doubles as a modified gasket mount, and the PCB. I like the included carrying case. It's got a really soft interior, and I think the thick exterior will do a good job of protecting your keyboard if you ever want to carry it around. The first thing I did with this build was mod the stabilizers using the Holee-Mod. If you don't know what the Holee-Mod is, it's essentially a cheat code for eliminating rattle and tick on spacebars as long as it's done correctly. What you do is cut a thin piece of bandage that is just wide enough to fit inside the stem and use tweezers to feed the bandage through the side with one hole. Once that is done, cut the bandage until there's a small amount left, feed it into the upper hole of the side with two holes, and press down with your tweezers until the bandage is firmly stuck on, and repeat this for all of the housings. Next, you want to lube the housings, and I didn't lube the stem because I was running low on lube and wanted to save it for the wires, but you can add it if you want to make it smoother. I used THOCK's 205G0, and I add enough to the point where I can see a thin amount evenly spread. Then I lube the wires, making sure that I can still see the gold in the wire, but with an even coat of lube around it. The wires that were included in the KBD fans stabilizers have a thicker diameter than normal, which means that there is less room for rattle, but also means that the wires are insanely difficult to click into place. It took about 15 minutes for me to click all of the wires into the housings. Once the stabilizers are done, I then installed them in the PCB and added switches to test if there's any rattle remaining. My backspace was still rattly and I was out of 205G0, so I added dielectric grease to the front and back of the housings using Minterly's plugging the butt method. This makes stabilizers pretty mushy in conjunction with the Holee-Mod and takes about 3 to 4 days to break in, whereas the other stabilizers took about 10 minutes of usage to get rid of the mushy feeling. After modding the stabilizers, I can now begin to assemble the case. The first thing I do is add the mute silicone pad, which also acts as the modified gasket mount. Then I add the polycarbonate plate on top and screw everything together. I'm not going to add the case foam for now because I want to do some testing to see which configuration I like more. I then want to disassemble the plastic case using the included screwdriver and add the silicone tabs onto the top half of the frame. Once that is done, I can add the PCB and screw the bottom case on, locking the PCB in place. For the switches, I went with the Boba U4Ts. These are a very popular switch made by Gazoo and known for the deep, thocky sound that they produce. I lubed these with Tribosys 3203 with 205G0 on the springs and filmed them with Desky's thick switch films. I really don't think that the films did much to improve the acoustics or stem wobble, so I wouldn't recommend them, and it takes a lot of effort with very minimal results. For the keycaps, I went with the Artifact Bloom Noir Keycaps set by Drop. These are PBT double shot and are cherry profile. They have a good thickness and give a good sound. They also include a lot of compatibility keys for specialized layers like 65%, so putting these keycaps on the 67 Lite wasn't a problem. Here's a sound test with and without the case foam. The KBD67 Lite makes switches sound super thocky, and using Boba U4Ts further accentuates that deep, rich sound, and I'm honestly a huge fan. The Holee-Modded stabilizers sound great, but the right side of that backspace still has some ticking. Overall though, I'm really happy with how this build has turned out. This keyboard came with VIA support and was super easy to set up, so I can dial in the right side column to what I want, and to change the second layer functions, it was super straightforward, which I like about VIA. I also turned off the RGB because the keycaps had some light bleed, and because I felt like it took away from the clean aesthetic I was looking for. In conclusion, I think that the KBD67 Lite is a super great board to get into the hobby. I think that the modified gaskets work great, although they don't give as much flex as a traditional gasket mount. For $109, this keyboard gives great value. And although the group buy for this keyboard has ended and all of the extras are sold out, I think that as long as you aren't paying crazy aftermarket prices for this keyboard, I think that this is one of the best keyboards you can buy at this price point, especially if you like thocky sounds. I'll leave links to the switches and keycaps I use for this build. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.